Here's a paraphrased version of your script, with the word order slightly altered while maintaining your original writing and articulating style. They all laughed. My parents, my cousins, even my aunt, who barely knew me, actually chuckled. At our Thanksgiving dinner, my sister Emily lifted her glass and declared, "Here's to family, everyone except Hannah, the failure who believes money defines her worth." And they laughed as if it were a harmless jest, as if I hadn't covered the cost of the wine they were sipping or the meal on their plates. I did not laugh. I raised my own glass and retorted to the failure who just stopped paying for everything. "You possess." And in that instant, the room fell silent. For years, I had strived to purchase peace, to earn affection through generosity, to remain quiet and indispensable. But that evening, something shattered. Or perhaps something finally healed. What ensued was not vengeance, but truth, at last unburdened. This is the account of what transpired after that infamous toast, the silent benefactor growing up. I quickly learned that silence offered safety. Emily was the boisterous one, radiant, unpredictable, always the focal point of any gathering. I was merely the shadow trailing her brilliance. While she performed at talent shows and paraded boyfriends like trophies, I remained in my room, engrossed in astrophysics books and crafting basic web applications. Before even reaching high school, my parents didn't precisely ignore me, but praise was consistently reserved for Emily. She was our wildflower, our vibrant spirit, the one who embraced life to its fullest. I was labeled so responsible, so mature, which, in our household, essentially meant never requiring anything by 16. I held a part-time job and possessed my own savings account. At 19, I sustained myself through freelance contracts, while Emily flitted between majors and partied her way through a 6-year college experience she ultimately never completed. Yet, whenever she stumbled, there was always a safety net to catch her, typically funded by me. I recall one Thanksgiving when Emily arrived unannounced with her then boyfriend, a man who insulted me within 5 minutes of his arrival. My mother hastily set an additional place at the table for them. No one noticed I had remained silent throughout the entire dinner. Later that night, I quietly settled the rent she had forgotten to send that month because, as she claimed, she just needed a little more time to launch her photography business. I never anticipated a thank you, but I suppose I always yearned for acknowledgement, a brief pause, a glance that conveyed, "You matter too." It never materialized. Instead, there were jokes, subtle jabs concealed within casual remarks. "Don't work yourself into an early grave, hon," or "Money doesn't buy happiness, you know." One year, Emily gifted me a mug inscribed with "CEO of Being Lonely." She found it hilarious. I continued to show up, continued to give: holidays, birthdays, medical bills, broken down cars, even a down payment for Emily's first condo. The title somehow ended up solely in her name. I convinced myself that this was simply what family did, but deep down, I knew I wasn't family in the way Emily was. I was the silent safety net beneath them all, dependable, interchangeable, unnoticed. So, when Emily raised her glass at that Thanksgiving dinner and uttered those words, except for Hannah, it wasn't the insult itself that broke me. It was the sudden clarity. Everything I had dismissed, rationalized, and endured snapped sharply into focus. And I knew, unequivocally, that I would no longer be their silent benefactor. The ledger of sacrifice. You'd be astonished how much people overlook when they're not the ones footing the bill. The condo Emily acquired in her late 20s. That was my money. She'd been denied a mortgage due to poor credit and asked if I could just help her get started. I paid the down payment and affixed my signature to the guarantor line. She moved in, posted Instagram tours with blessed and thriving captions, and never once mentioned my involvement. When Dad suffered a slipped disc and required surgery that insurance didn't fully cover, I unhesitatingly paid the difference. When Mom's car broke down and she wished to avoid burdening Dad again, I dispatched a check the very same day. I settled Emily's final semester tuition, not because I believed she would finish, but because she had threatened to simply quit and move in with me. I calculated that paying was preferable to cohabiting. Birthdays, anniversaries, Mother's Day, Father's Day, gift cards, new appliances. When Emily forgot Dad's birthday one year, I arranged for a custom leather watch, engraved with both their initials, to be delivered. He assumed it was from her. She did not correct him. Neither did I. There was even a period when Emily was between jobs and Mom called me, her voice trembling. "She's just going through a rough patch, sweetheart. Could you maybe float her a little something for rent?" I wired $2,000. That night I maintained a spreadsheet, not because I needed the figures, but because it helped me remain grounded. When guilt began to creep in and whisper, "Maybe you're being too cold," I would open that file and see precisely how much I had quietly sustained over 7 years. $18,400 in rent and utilities, $11,200 in medical bills, $9,700 in business investments. That yielded no returns. $6,500 in car repairs, $4,000 in vacation and holiday expenses, and $10,000 in last-minute bailouts and forgotten bills. Not once did anyone inquire if I was okay, if I needed assistance, or if I even desired to continue giving. And each time I did show up, someone, usually Emily, would find a way to make me feel as if it weren't enough, or that it was somehow transactional. Hannah's not the emotional type. She once remarked at dinner, "She just sends money." They all laughed. They always laughed. But the truth was, I didn't send money due to a lack of feeling. I sent it because I had been raised to believe that love equated to giving, that responsibility meant silence, that success demanded sacrifice. Until that Thanksgiving night, until the toast that cut through every hidden resentment like a sharpened blade, until I finally grasped that I wasn't the problem. I was simply the funding source, and I was finished. The line in the sand, Thanksgiving, had always been a grand production in our family, Emily's favorite holiday. She adored the photographs, the coordinated outfits, the performative grace around the table. This year, she insisted we lease a farmhouse-style restaurant just outside town for the vibe. She selected the theme, the wine, even the playlist. She did not select the person footing the bill. That, of course, was me. I had telephoned a week prior, providing the venue with my card to reserve the private room. I didn't announce it. I never did. I told myself I was doing it for Mom, who had spent her life striving to keep the family cohesive, and perhaps even for Dad, who had aged more rapidly than he realized. I was not doing it for Emily. She arrived late, naturally. Her hair perfectly styled, wearing a velvet dress I recognized from a shopping spree she had claimed she couldn't afford. Everyone rose to embrace her. I remained seated. Dinner was filled with superficial chatter and hollow laughter. Ryan, our cousin, recounted a story about getting lost in Rome. Uncle Ben interjected with a golf anecdote no one had solicited. I slowly sipped my water, counting how many glasses of wine Emily had already emptied. Then came dessert. The lights dimmed. Someone presented a pie adorned with candles. A few people applauded. That's when Emily rose. She lifted her glass, her eyes gleaming. "Here's to family," she announced, her voice warm and practiced. "Two shared memories, unconditional love, and being there for one another no matter what." She paused. Just long enough, except for Hannah, of course, she added with a crooked smile. "The failure who believes money defines her worth." Laughter erupted, not gasps, not an uncomfortable silence. Laughter, Dad chuckled under his breath. Mom attempted to scold Emily with her eyes, but uttered no words. A few cousins looked down, clearly uneasy, but no one spoke up. My hands did not tremble, my heart did not race. It was strangely tranquil within me, like the moment preceding a power outage. I stood, lifted my glass of water because I abstain from drinking much around them. "I need to remain clear," and calmly stated to the failure who just stopped paying for everything you possess. The table froze. Silverware hung suspended midair. A wine glass tilted but did not topple. I offered a faint smile. "Starting tonight, the car insurance, the condo bills, the family health fund, even this dinner, they're all off my books." I gestured toward the door where the restaurant manager stood discreetly, bill folder in hand. "That one's on you, Emily." She blinked. Dad sat up straighter. Mom whispered Hannah as if I were the one causing a scene. But I wasn't creating a scene. I was drawing a line, and this time, I wasn't going to erase it. The dinner concluded without dessert. The staff swiftly cleared plates, their polite smiles brittle. No one made eye contact. My parents avoided looking at me. Emily stormed out first, her heels punctuating the hard wood like sharp punctuation marks. The rest trickled out, whispering, avoiding the obvious. I waited until everyone had departed. Then, I settled the bill. Yes, I still covered it. Not because they deserved it, but because I needed that night to end cleanly. I wasn't going to grant them the satisfaction of labeling me petty or cruel. I was concluding the role I had been assigned, not adopting another iteration of it. By the time I reached home, my phone was already illuminating. A text from Dad, that wasn't. "T-Fair, Hannah, you blindsided everyone. Not how we handle things in this family." A voicemail from Mom, "Sweetheart, Emily was joking. Please don't let one comment ruin decades of love." 3. Texts from Emily. "You seriously embarrassed me. Grow up. You're not a victim. Hope your money keeps you warm." I did not respond to any of them. Instead, I opened my laptop and retrieved the spreadsheet. The one meticulously detailing every payment, every bailout, every silent sacrifice. It wasn't revenge, it was record keeping. Truth quantified. And I emailed it, subject line, in case you forgot. Attachment, ledger 20.xlsx. No body text, just numbers. $49,800 over 7 years, meticulously broken down by category. Medical, housing, education, family events, emergencies. 3 hours later, Emily replied, "Wow, you really are that insecure? Congrats. You want a medal?" I closed the message without reading further. Mom called again the next morning. I allowed it to go to voicemail. "Hannah, this isn't like you. You're hurt. I get it. But don't make permanent decisions over something said in the moment. That's not who you are." But the truth was, this was precisely who I had become. Or perhaps, finally, who I had ceased pretending not to be. I wasn't angry. Not exactly. I was done. Done justifying their behavior. Done accepting crumbs and being labeled ungrateful. Emily's boyfriend messaged me on Instagram 2 days later, accusing me of attempting to humiliate her in front of the family. I hadn't even known he followed me. Then came the final breaking point. A shared bank account I had established years ago to assist mom with household expenses suddenly displayed unusual withdrawals. Grocery store, spa appointment, a boutique clothing store I recognized as one of Emily's favorites. I froze. They were still exploiting me, even after the toast, even after the spreadsheet. I closed the account that very night, and that's when I realized I hadn't created a scene at Thanksgiving. They had simply refused to participate this time. A week passed, I didn't answer calls. I offered no explanations. I simply vanished from their group chats, as if I had never belonged there in the first place. The silence felt strange initially, like holding my breath. But eventually it felt like oxygen. Then the envelope arrived. No return address, just my name inscribed in shaky black ink. The handwriting was familiar. My father's. I hesitated before opening it. Inside, a printed stack of emails, some photocopied statements, and a handwritten note clipped to the front. It read, "Hannah, we've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. But you need to know what's going on." I didn't know where else to turn, Dad. First document, a joint checking account in my parents' names. Over the past 2 years, it had been steadily depleted. Nearly every transaction marked E, Carson, Emily. Some were ATM withdrawals, others PayPal transfers. A few were labeled emergency expenses, but precisely matched boutique purchases and weekend getaways I had seen posted on her social media stories. The amounts were not merely substantial, they were consistent, predictable. The next page contained an email exchange between my dad and their financial advisor. "We may need to refinance the house if this keeps up." I didn't realize how far behind we were. "I've tried talking to Emily. She says she's handling it, but Hannah can't know." That sentence stopped me cold. She's done. Enough already. It was the closest I had ever come to an acknowledgement, and it wasn't even directed at me. It was buried within a thread of desperation. They were on the verge of losing the house. The home I grew up in, the one they always boasted about owning outright, was now leveraged to sustain Emily's lifestyle, not because she needed it, but because she expected it, and they allowed it repeatedly. And now, they were at their wits' end that night. I sat in my kitchen with the folder spread across the table, my tea long cold beside me, and my hands clenched in my lap. This was no longer merely about a toast. It was about a deeply ingrained pattern, one that had quietly drained more than just my wallet. It had drained my self-worth over many years. But now I possessed clarity, leverage, and a crucial choice to make. I could completely withdraw, leaving them to face the consequences alone. Or I could utilize my knowledge to protect them. Not for them, but for myself. Because if I didn't disrupt this cycle here, it would continue long after I was gone. The next morning, I contacted a lawyer. Her name was Marissa Adler, sharp, direct, no nonsense. She had assisted a friend of mine in establishing a trust fund after a complicated divorce. I explained everything. The hidden withdrawals, the equity drain, the years of silence, the infamous toast. I anticipated her shock. She wasn't. "What you're describing," she stated, tapping her pen, "isn't just financial abuse. It's learned dependency, enabled, funded, and emotionally manipulated. And you're the structure they've been standing on." I blinked. Structure. That word resonated with me. I simply wished to cease being the constant support, because they never once bothered to check if I was still standing. So, we devised a plan. Architect of my own life. Step 1. I would purchase the family home at market value through a private trust, thereby safeguarding it from further risk of foreclosure or equity loss. Step 2. The trust would grant my parents lifetime residency, but solely to them. If they attempted to transfer rights to Emily or incur new loans against it, the trust would automatically freeze. Step 3. I would clear their existing debts using a portion of my investment income, but with complete documentation, signatures, and legal restrictions. No more informal favors, no more ambiguous lines. Emily was explicitly excluded from the arrangement. Marissa drafted all the necessary documents in under a week. I transferred the funds the following day. When the paperwork was ready, I dispatched a formal letter to my parents, explaining the terms, short, clear, and unemotional. You will not lose your home. You will be protected, but not in control. This is not a punishment, it is a boundary. Dad did not respond. Mom telephoned 3 times. I did not answer. Emily sent a text that simply stated, "You've lost your mind." I did not reply, because for the first time in my life, I hadn't lost myself attempting to protect them. I had protected myself too, later. That week, the documents were quietly signed, without ceremony. My parents sat opposite me in Marissa's office. Mom whispered, "Thank you," as she slid the final page forward. I nodded. No embraces, no forgiveness, just formality. The weight hadn't vanished, but it had shifted. It no longer resided in my chest. It now existed in contracts, in clarity, in distance. I was no longer the structure. I was now the architect. And everything that followed, I would be the one to design it. Peace and new beginnings. It occurred on a Sunday afternoon. Cold wind, a gray sky, the kind of day that makes everything feel heavier. The knock on my door was sharp. 3 quick, distinct taps. I peered through the peephole and was unsurprised. Emily, no makeup, a hoodie too large for her frame, hair in a messy knot that looked less effortless and more neglected. She wasn't there to impress anyone. She was there for explanations. I opened the door halfway. "Emily." She offered no smile. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She entered without waiting for an invitation, just as always, the same assumption that the space was hers until explicitly told otherwise. She stood in my living room, arms folded. "So that's it, you just buy the house. Cut everyone out." I remained silent. "Do you even realize what this makes you look like?" She snapped. "Like some controlling villain who believes she can fix everything with money?" I raised an eyebrow. "I'm not fixing anything. I'm protecting what you kept breaking." Her mouth tightened. "I didn't know about Dad taking out loans against the house," she claimed. "That wasn't me." I walked to the coffee table, retrieved the folder, and placed it before her. Page 4. Transfers labeled under your name. Thousands, regularly. Don't insult me with denial. She didn't touch the folder, merely stared at it as if it might detonate. "You could have told me," she said, her voice softer now. "I did. Every time I bailed you out. Every time I paid your rent or covered your credit cards, you didn't hear me because I never raised my voice. That's on me. I should have shouted." Emily crossed her arms tighter, retreating into defensiveness. "So what? You're done with me?" Just like that. I paused. "No," I responded. "You were done with me the moment you stood up in front of our entire family and mocked me like a punchline. That was your line in the sand." She shook her head. "It was a joke." I stepped closer. "It was the truth, Emily. Yours, loud and clear." Her eyes glistened, but not with apology, with resentment. "So what now? You get to play savior while I get pushed off a cliff." "No," I stated simply. "You get to start from the ground. Like I did, like adults do." She stared at me, disbelief mingling with something else, fear. "You're really cutting me off?" I looked her directly in the eyes. "Whatever you choose to build," she turned then. No dramatic door slam. No parting insult, just quiet footsteps and a single breath before she vanished down the hallway. And for the first time, I felt no guilt. After her departure, I felt peace. 2 weeks after Emily exited my apartment, the paperwork was finalized. The house was officially transferred into the trust. My parents signed every page with weary eyes and trembling hands. There were no speeches, no reconciliations, just signatures, silence, and a distant kind of gratitude. When Mom handed me the last signed page, she avoided my gaze. "You didn't have to do this," she murmured. I looked at her, my gaze steady. "No, I didn't." I departed shortly after, allowing Marissa to complete the handover. I desired no moment of false intimacy. I desired boundaries, real ones, legal ones that could not be dismissed with laughter at dinner tables or rewritten by guilt. I established a modest monthly stipend for my parents, sufficient for essentials, not indulgences. The trust was airtight. If Emily ever attempted to access it, the funds would immediately freeze. I even arranged for an independent trustee to manage distributions so I could completely disengage. Control was not my objective. Distance was. 3 weeks later, Emily moved in with a friend on the opposite side of town. I heard through a cousin that she had attempted working as a retail stylist but resigned after 5 shifts. The manager was condescending, she reportedly claimed. Classic Emily. I did not follow up. I did not check in. I no longer owed that. That Christmas, a card arrived from my mother. Just a plain white envelope. No gifts, no notes tucked inside, just a single sentence. We didn't deserve your grace, but thank you anyway. I gazed at it for a long time. I did not cry. I did not call. I simply placed it in the folder alongside the financial documents, the one that had once contained everything that broke me. Now, it held items that reminded me I had endured. And then I went for a walk. The sky was gray, a cold wind pressing against my cheeks, but I felt light. I walked past storefronts adorned with garlands, families shopping, couples laughing, and a realization dawned on me. For the first time in my adult life, my calendar was not centered around other people's needs. There was no secret Venmo payment. I would have to send no passive-aggressive call awaiting me. No emotional ambush, disguised as a family lunch, just quiet. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't cinematic, but it was mine. In the subsequent months, I ceased sharing updates with my family. I stopped sending gifts simply out of obligation. I constructed something new, a routine, a space, a life that did not orbit their approval. We still communicate occasionally. Brief calls, polite check-ins for birthdays. No more barbed jokes, no more unspoken debts, just civility. It's not closeness, but it is peace. And peace, I have learned, is not applause or validation or being invited to occupy a chair at someone else's table. It is building your own table and carefully selecting who earns a seat. Emily does not have one. Not out of cruelty, but because she burned hers. And when people say, "But she's your sister," I nod. Then I respond, and I was hers, until I wasn't. I have ceased attempting to prove my worth to individuals who require me to remain small in order to feel grand. I am not the failure. I am the foundation they leaned on for too long, and now I am no longer supporting them. I am standing tall. For me,